All right, guys, this episode is sponsored by Hurrdat Marketing. Now, you've heard us talk about the Hurrdat Media team and all the reasons we chose to work with them and how far the Hollywood Raw podcast has come in the last few months, with much more in the pipeline that we're very excited about. But Hurrdat Media is only one part of the Hurrdat organization.
Let us say one of the reasons we chose Hurrdat, it was their reputation as one of the premier search engine optimization agencies out there. Search optimization, for those of you who don't know, is the practice of optimizing your website, podcast, YouTube views, or anything else to be found as high as possible in the Google search results. Hurrdat Marketing serves the marketing needs of companies of all sizes, from mom and pop shops to S&P 500 corporations. They work with nearly 3,000 business locations in 43 states, and this was the tipping point in the decision for the Hollywood Raw.
So we knew that growing Hollywood Raw meant partnering with a media company that also had a full marketing arm, and that's what Hurrdat Marketing brings to the table. So Hurrdat Marketing is not just SEO. They are a full-service marketing agency with literally every service under one roof. There is nothing outsourced to partners like a lot of the other big agencies do, and we mean everything: social media marketing, web design, content marketing, video production, branding, creative, SEO, SEM, local SEO, all the SE whatevers. They have the team in-house to meet your needs and ours.
Yeah, that's why you see our TikTok blowing up. We're getting ready to launch a whole new website, and they are the power behind the news stories that we found on our website. They literally do it all for us, and they can do the same for you. So if you have a company that needs more customers or know somebody who needs new customers, you know by now that the internet is where you're going to find them. And Hurrdat Marketing is the company that will get you found more often than your competition. Find Hurrdat Marketing online at hurrdatmarketing.com. That's HURRDAT marketing.com, or give them a call at 877-662-4443. Exciting episode of the podcast today. We have probably the poorest person we've ever had on the show. No, we had
me?
One of the coolest
or
people.
no, you.
No, me. Today I'm at the poorest part of my life. But no, I'm really excited for this show, today's episode, because the person we're having on today is honestly, and I say that very honestly, is one of the best celebrities I've ever met. So down to earth, so normal, so cool, so gracious, so like a man of the people, so low key, so grounded, so rich. Mark Cuban.
Get your head out of his butt, dude.
Dude,
Jesus.
it's true. I meet a lot of people, but honestly, he's incredible. He's
talking about Matt.
Yeah, I was like really starting to be like, dang. Like, that's true.
So yeah, today's a really fun episode for me personally, because not only are we having Mark Cuban on the podcast today, but we also have my other partner here at TrophySmack, Matt, who you may know from Shark Tank. And, you know, we pitched our company TrophySmack on Shark Tank. And so today we were like, you know what, let's do fucking something so different. If we got Cuban, let's do a shark's perspective of being on Shark Tank versus the entrepreneur's perspective of being on Shark Tank, and what it was like during our pitch, the play-by-play. Exactly. I don't think I've ever heard any other podcast do something like this, and I think it could be really interesting, because we've never talked to Mark about that. Like, we've never deconstructed the pitch with him. So,
we've thought about it a million times, and he's probably thought about it zero. But hearing his perspective on some of these big milestones, like these big pivotal moments, this is going to be a lot.
This is like I got my two work husbands together. You guys are meeting. You're not supposed to meet, you guys.
You know, when Dax ever does these podcasts in the office, I'm always like outside the door, like, how do I
get in and talk to Adrena Patrick?
Just gotta get a billionaire partner, and then I'll get invited on.
So this is fun.
Yeah, this can be awesome. Mark Cuban, Dax and Matt, their company, TrophySmack, they went on Shark Tank. They made a deal with Mark Cuban. What was the percentage of the money? What was the money he put in? What was the percentage you gave him of the?
So the deal ended up being $600,000 for 17% of the company.
Wow.
But we got fucking Mark Cuban.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. So when you do the deal, I mean, there's probably tons of paperwork after that, right? Like lawyers involved, like.
Yes, it's not like, hey, we just shake hands and walk off and it all works itself out. No, there's quite a bit of work afterwards that we had to go through. And
Dax says that all the paperwork's on my desk.
Yeah. I'm like, we, as in Matt, went through all the paperwork. No, it was a long process.
It is a very long process, and to do things the right way when, within that Shark Tank platform, there has to be these levels of protection, right? So, we recognize that process exists for a reason, but it's all for a very exciting end goal.
So Matt, are you nervous about talking to this guy? I mean, Mark Cuban, like we're going to ask him some questions. Or I don't want him to
like, have you actually listened to our podcast before?
Psyched out of my mind.
Like we ask people who's dropping into your DMs and shit. Like, are you a little nervous that Cuban's just going to hang up on us?
What does DM stand for? No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's cool. But before we get to Mark Cuban, we do a really cool thing where we read reviews on this podcast. It's the best thing you do to support this podcast because it helps out with the algorithm of the podcast shit on iTunes and stuff. So all you gotta do is leave a review, 5-star only, and then just say some nice things about Dax. You could bash me, but Dax is sensitive. He's soft, so be nice to him.
As long as there's 5 stars, I'll read whatever the fuck you write. All right.
Honestly, it's the best thing you do to support this podcast. It's so easy. Just scroll to the bottom, leave a review. It's the best thing to do to support this podcast. And if you do it, we'll probably read your review on air. Dax, do you have a review today?
I do, but you know what? I drifted off a little bit today because the person left the review on Facebook, but I thought it was a nice review, so I wanted to read it and just give a little shout out. Shout out to Deborah Hume. She said, great content and stories. Love the diversity. I learned something about behind the scenes in Hollywood every podcast.
That's nice. Listen, love the diversity.
No, by the way,
2 white guys.
That's my mom.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
I was like, the producer wrote and was like, oh, we got a really nice comment from someone on Facebook. And I was like, oh, let me read it. And I'm like, that's my mom, you guys. So for once, we read a review by one of our parents who my mom is our biggest podcast fan. And actually, Adam's dad is the other biggest podcast fan.
Yeah. So shout out to your mom and my dad for being the 2 biggest fans.
Your mom's putting to work though, because she also leaves the reviews and the comments on TrophySmack. So God bless her.
she does it all. And I don't know. She didn't leave one on Apple, and I think she has an Android phone, so she probably just can't. So thanks, Mom.
I'm gonna call my mom after this and ask where are the reviews at.
Yeah, what the hell, slacker.
Once we start having merch, I think they're gonna be in charge of our merch and selling our merch. So
we do have fantasy loser tattoos.
There we go. Give that to your mom.
Yeah.
All right,
cool.
Enough waiting. We got to get him on. Like he's just sitting here waiting for us. Listen to a slab over here.
Dax, tell us about our guest today.
All right, our guest today is an American billionaire, entrepreneur, television personality, media mogul, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and my newest business partner at TrophySmack. Thanks to a little show called Shark Tank. Please welcome Mark Cuban. Woo!
So what's up, Mark? How you doing, bud?
Good, guys. How y'all doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, man. So let's start here. Dax and Matt, you guys recently inked a deal with Mark for your business, TrophySmack. Give me just a quick description of what your business is.
In a nutshell, TrophySmack designs and manufactures the most epic, over-the-top trophies, championship belts, blinged out rings. I mean, the idea came to be when, we realized the trophy industry that is timeless, right? Somehow, some way, it's never been disrupted. So for all the greatness that exists, how is there not a physical representation of that? So that's what we do.
And we're crushing it.
Making greatness, baby.
So Mark, what makes TrophySmack better than any other trophy companies out there? Like, why did you invest in them?
They're agile, they're creative, they're multi-platform, and they're salesmen, man. They hustle, they grind, and so that's what attracted me.
Yeah. So Dax, then how did you guys get on the show?
So it was, it was honestly, we dreamed about going on Shark Tank for years. I mean, we've only been in business since 2018, but it is one of those things we wanted to do. It was a bucket list item for Matt, and it was kind of like a connection through a connection that was like, here, you could submit an email and see if they're interested. And then it just started going. And I think it honestly ended up from start to finish being about like a 1.5 year process to get on the show, film, and be done.
Yeah, that's fast. That's fast.
It's been in my mind for 12 years.
Well, that shit's slow. That part of it's slow. I know. But
Mark, does that make you nervous when you see a company that's only been around, they're doing well. They've been around since 2018, but obviously they saw a hole in the market. Does that make you a little nervous when you invest in a company that's only been around for only since 2018, but
No,
obviously the ideas behind it?
it's the exact opposite. It means there's more upside because they're just getting started. And I'm getting there early enough to help them accelerate things.
Yeah. That's cool. So it's weird because when I was watching the show, you guys were the last segment on Shark Tank, and the segment might have been about 8 minutes long. How long are you actually in front of the sharks for, Dax? Did it go by fast or?
I mean, it flew by. I'm not gonna lie.
I blacked out.
You blink and it's done. I mean, I don't know how much of that we can reveal, but we were on set for more than 8 minutes. How about that?
Yeah.
We were out there.
Those things go on. I don't remember how long TrophySmack was, but like the stupid ones take 20 minutes in real time, and the intense ones take up to 2 hours. And I think
Yeah,
you guys
we were on more of
90
the
minutes.
intense time.
Yeah, we were on the intense side, yeah. It was over 90 minutes.
But again, it goes by
it
so
was
fast.
a blink of the eye, yeah.
Yeah, because you're concentrating so hard, because they got to listen to 5 people, not just me or, somebody else. They got to keep their ears open. They got to keep it all organized. They got to know who asked what and what's next. And then they got to try to be good TV.
Exactly. And you want to answer everyone's question, and you're just like, okay, now who do I answer right now, and then move to the next question. So it's a tough room.
You don't feel it in
this.
this segment when the questions are coming from multiple different places, right? I mean, the editing is great, but yeah, it's awesome, but it goes by so fast for the entrepreneur, especially.
Well, here's Mark, I gotta imagine you have seen hundreds and hundreds of pitches over the years just from Shark Tank, but now people are coming on the street trying to pitch to you everything. What do you remember about Dax and Matt that made their pitch memorable? Like, what made you attracted to it?
Well, first of all, the setup, right? Because different pitchers have different levels of setup, and theirs was kind of fun because they had all the trophies. They actually created trophies for each one of us so that there was something for us to connect to, and they gave them to us. And then obviously just because it's sports related, and in reality, I had talked to another company at some point in the past about doing high-end specialty trophies for fantasy sports. And so when these guys popped on, it's always cool when it's like, oh, I thought that was a good idea before, and now there's a Shark Tank coming on. Because when you just get pitched an idea, normally you don't get the commercial for it, right? It's just you got to start from scratch. But when you come on Shark Tank, you get the benefit of millions of people watching you live, and then all the replays that come afterward in DVRs. So you put those things together, and it was exciting for me just to see what their pitch was.
Yeah. So like Matt, the night that Shark Tank comes out, did you guys get a ton of clicks on the website? Like, how did the website go?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was crazy.
We had agreed with the wives that we weren't going to watch without them. We had the 8 o'clock Pacific time. They had the whole house decked out with Shark Tank. We did want to do a watch party, but with the pandemic, it was just, immediate family. So we were still in the office. I mean, we were grinding the last second on the East Coast airing right before our segment started. We were still finishing, that exit intent pop-up. And when it aired, it was almost like an analytics party in the office. We had our Google Analytics up on the TVs.
Yeah.
We're like, 5,000 visitors, 6,000, guys, we got 8,000.
And it was funny because Matt still had the live chat connected to his phone.
my
It was
God.
like instant 300 messages, and his phone was just blowing. He's like, I'm trying to watch the show and pay attention. It was
My
it was
phone locked up.
crazy.
Live chat on the cell phone and everything that just flooded in was insane.
So,
That
but
is
Matt,
insane.
this was your first time being on TV, right? Were you
Yes.
nervous? Like, what was going on through your head?
I mean, with 0 hours of experience and this being that monumental, as an entrepreneur bucket list item. I mean, I remember before the doors opening, Dax grabs me and says, "Dude, you need to breathe." I mean, I'm just like,
I was like, you got this. You have a huge personality. You're fun. You're really smart. You got this. Just relax.
breathe.
Wait,
Yeah,
but
no,
so how many times did you guys? So the producers get you guys to rehearse, right? So you're in a hotel room, and how many times did they make you rehearse it before you go out there?
Oh, we didn't. We did it 1,000 times on the way to Vegas. We did it 1,000 more times in Vegas.
Well, with the pandemic, we got that extra 8 days of psychological warfare with just us overthinking it. But we had it down where, we're watching, whatever the heck's on TV. And
it was Shark Tank reruns, by the way, nonstop in the hotel room.
Yeah. And that commercial break, we had that cadence where we could get the pitch from start to finish during that commercial break. And it was every commercial break, boom, done.
Yeah, because Adam, I don't think you realize that, we all were quarantined in the Las Vegas Sands. And it's not bad being in the Las Vegas Sands, but, we couldn't just go hang out at the hotel, go gamble or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, we were stuck in our rooms and I didn't see sunlight for 10 days at a time. You guys probably had the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But worth it. We talked about it, but it was worth it. We would do it again.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's interesting because, Mark, I feel like you've had this strategy a lot this season. It's been going on a lot at Shark Tank recently where you basically, you let a lot of the people ask a lot of questions and you came out with a shot clock. You said, guys, here's my offer. You can't listen to everyone else's other offer. Was that strategy? Like, what made you do that?
Because I just wanted me, and I was like, okay, we got to get this shit over with. Right?
Because watched us squirm long enough.
Right. Awesome. We watched you squirm long enough. See, I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh, how many more fucking deals do we have today, right? Da 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 da. And so I want this company. Let's just get it over with, because otherwise, you got to listen to the other sharks talk their shit, and it's just not worth the time. So let's just get it over with.
Funny.
Yeah, I mean, it just fit your brand. It's like, oh, this is Mark Cuban all over it.
This is fun because we've never really had this discussion, and I like hearing this other side of it. This is cool.
Awesome.
So what was going on ahead with your guys when Mark put the shot clock on you and said, listen, guys, this is it. What was going on through your heads, and how quick was that decision saying yes?
Oh, God, I mean, we had those 8 days to think of every clever rebuttal, right? We thought we were so smart. If they say this, we're going to say that. And then, as soon as Mark went out, every single idea was instantly just poof.
Not only were all the ideas gone, but my heart sank. I was like, oh my God, we didn't anticipate that.
Checkmate.
So I think Lori seemed like she had some interest in TrophySmack. Did you guys ever even hear her offer or off camera or anything?
Nope.
That's probably one of the most common questions. Like, dad's on my kids' soccer team. What was Lori's offer? Why didn't you hear it? And I'm like, did you not hear Mark go out? What do you think I'm gonna do? Okay.
Yeah, no, we have no idea what her offer was gonna be.
Do the Sharks ever chat afterwards?
Yeah, it was bullshit. That's what she does, right? Because she's like. Because obviously we know, if there's one shark that's the best fit, if it's something to be sold on QVC, Lori is going to be the best fit, right? And so when they go out, we know that we can just come in and just chomp on, the entrepreneur and really, underprice it. And so that's what she would have done.
Oh, that's such gold. Knowing that's how
your guys' brains think.
I take it back. No, I lied. It was going to be $2 million for 3%.
But Mark, you obviously you've seen some great ideas over the years. You've seen great products, but how much is in the person? When you see Matt and Dax as your partners, how much do you look at the person and say, what did you see in them that you said these guys will be able to execute? Because they can have an idea, but if they don't execute, it means bullshit. It's nothing,
Right. Well, I mean, obviously in 2 years they'd gotten fairly far, right? So it wasn't like they were sitting on their asses, and they had done things that were innovative. Like I said, they were multimedia, multi-platform. They had created, unique products to fit the market. And because obviously the trophy business, like they said, has been around for a long time, but also, it's a very copy-oriented business. Once one company does it, then everybody looks at it and tries to copy it. So you needed to have entrepreneurs that were not only were grinders, but that were agile, that they were ready to leap. And so all the different things they put together, the presentation they did, the way the set was set up in terms of the throne and all the trophies, that showed me that they had, some marketing chops, some sales chops, and that's what got me interested.
So, no, that's great. So Matt and Dax, how has the company been since you guys left TrophySmack?
It's fucked up. It's gone downhill. Biggest mistake I've ever made.
It's totally in the dumpster now. No, it's honestly, it's been amazing. And like, I can't tell you, like, Mark, I'm gonna kiss your butt right now, but how like interactive you've been with us and accessible. We didn't know what to expect going into this process, and I think it's very cool how we've been able to reach out to you, and any questions we have, you're always there. I think that's really cool. And that's the other question that a lot of people ask us.
Yeah.
How involved is Mark? And we're like, he's awesome.
Expectations like couldn't have been exceeded more. Like, I don't know how, Mark. I mean, when I think I'm overworked or I'm too busy, and I see you respond to an email in 4 minutes, I'm like, oh, dude, I got runway here.
You know, it's funny because I'm sitting outside now, just here at Tank Top, right? Because I was sitting in front of the motherfucking computer all day, right? And that's all I do is all emails. Matt and Dax, bam, get it over with. You know, shoot it out the door. So I needed to come out here and get some sun and get a break.
So, Mark, where do you see the numbers wise for TrophySmack in 3 years? You know, where do you see this company?
I mean, I don't try to project like that, but there's so many applications and there's so many extensions. And, you know, I'd say their biggest growth is going to come from digital. You know, we've talked about doing NFTs, but there's all kinds of reward systems that you can set up that crypto is opening the door for that didn't exist, you know, a year ago, let alone 2 years ago when they started, or 2.5 years ago. And so I think, you know, when you play fantasy sports, you do it for the juice of it, the fun of it, the excitement of it, to beat your boys or girls for that matter, and get bragging rights. And then there's a whole lot of ways beyond just trophies that TrophySmack can talk some smack and create bragging rights. And I think the combination of those is really where they're going to explode over the next couple of years.
That's cool.
Right.
That's right.
Oh, good answer, Mark.
That's exciting.
I read those emails. They may be long, but I read them.
I do my best.
So, Dax, I know you probably have some questions. Let's, tell me something. You ask some questions now. I've been asking about. I was curious what's going on with TrophySmack and Mark.
Yeah, no, that honestly, that was really fun. I liked hearing the perspective back and forth. So, thanks for being willing to do that, Mark. That was really cool. Yeah. I guess when I think of like Shark Tank and how busy you are, when they first approached you for Shark Tank, were you all on, or I got to imagine that's a huge time commitment, so that might be kind of nerve-wracking back in the day.
This is more than 10 years ago now, so it was probably 2009, I think, is when they first approached me, and I didn't get on. They picked somebody else, and then after it didn't do so well, they came back to me, and they auditioned me. I literally had to do an audition, and I was so hungover. But I'd gone down to LA and I got with some of my friends, and it was brutal, but it was easy for me. So I went on as a guest shark, and literally the show had not done all that well and was kind of struggling. And I'm thinking, you know what? They want me to be a guest for 3 episodes. I'm going to go on there and just have a great time. It's network television. You know, it's a unique opportunity, and let's just see what happens. And so when I got on there, I was just raising hell and just buying everything, literally everything. and the sharks are like, what the hell is going on? But then, it turned the corner, and they asked me to come on as a full-time shark, and it's been fun ever since. Yeah, I really enjoy doing it.
So with the companies you've invested in as a shark, do you have a good batting average, would you say, as them being successful?
Yeah, I mean, it really takes a normal venture capital curve where you've got 10 to 20% that just crush it. You sell the company, and I've sold a bunch. I've had some that have turned into, high 8-figure deals. And then you have some that are just shitty as hell. And those are typically my earliest ones. And then, and you also, you balance it out, because there's times when I'll do a deal because it's the right thing to do to try to help somebody, even though it's a long shot. There's just times when, somebody can either use our support or the money or whatever. And that there's, when it's all said and done, there's going to be 20 million plus people who have seen it. And it's the type of episode that would inspire them. And so, it might cost me even a lot of money sometimes, but, I'll make that deal knowing that it's not necessarily going to be a great investment.
So, like, talking about all these businesses you're part of, I think the biggest thing how do you have time? Like, really, how do you have time to focus on all of these companies and do everything that you're doing?
I'm good at this shit. and I have great people who help me. I mean, you guys deal with John and Hugh and everybody, right? So I've got some really, really good people who who deal with a lot of the day-to-day blocking and tackling, and then I just have to answer the questions and deal with any problems. And I've been doing it, long enough that, there's not a whole lot that surprises me.
Okay, but so looking back on your empire, what was the best financial advice anyone ever gave you?
Sales cures all.
Yeah,
Okay.
amen.
I like
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Never been a company to succeed without selling. If you can sell, you always have a job. If you can sell and it's your company always has got a chance. The companies that have been the biggest disasters that I worked with, even before I started companies, were always the ones where the CEO didn't sell. And I learned point blank right there that, every company that I've been involved with as an employee or otherwise, where the CEO wasn't the best salesperson, at least in terms of being hyped, doesn't necessarily have to be the one closing the deals. But at the beginning, when you're getting started, if the CEO isn't the best salesperson, the company's got no chance.
I'm feeling hyped
I
right
was
now,
like,
man.
I was like, it's a good time. Good thing you invest in TrophySmack. Matt is our biggest hype man.
On
Right?
that note, Adam, you had said earlier about how many clicks were on the website. I would say the biggest thing for me, being a consummate salesperson really since the day I was born, is that Shark Tank effect and the psychological impact as a salesperson. Like, I'm so used to knocking on doors, and I'll never stop knocking, but having those doors open and someone come out and saying, "Hey, you're on Shark Tank," like that's the biggest Shark Tank effect. For
Do you
me
guys
as a
do you guys
salesperson.
get recognized at all? Has anybody recognized you from being on the show?
A little bit. I mean, Dax.
I would say not necessarily from Shark Tank.
John Bajuice the other day, my kids were like, "Daddy," they keep looking at us. I'm like, "TrophySmack, yeah, baby, who won the trophy? Who's in the fantasy league?"
That's
fun.
so great.
Mark, you mentioned NFTs. That's a huge word during the past year. Everyone's talking about the NFTs. What about it makes you so passionate? And do you really think they're going to stick around? Like, they're going to hold their value?
Yeah. Well, of course they're going to stick around. I mean, because NFTs are just smart contracts on Ethereum or other blockchains. And so there's so many things you can do with them. And the collectible side is just one of them. Like, I just invested in a company today that does insurance using NFTs. And what that means is, like, let's just say, as an example, for the Mavericks, I wanted to buy insurance that says if the temperature drops below 20 degrees and there's 4 inches of precipitation, meaning it got cold and there's 4 inches of snow, I can buy a contract that pays me X amount of dollars and costs me Y amount of dollars. And all that's handled as part of an NFT. Now, it's a different application than a collectibles application, but that's what NFTs can be. And collectibles really are just a proof of concept. So NFTs are going to be around forever. In terms of collectibles, it's been kind of a different, difficult market because 2 months ago, there were more buyers than there were collectibles, than there were products or NFTs. Now, everybody saw the dollars that were coming in. Now, since anything that's digital can be minted into an NFT, there's more NFTs than there are buyers. So you're seeing prices drop a lot, except for really collectible items like CryptoPunks. And that just means it's turning into a normal collector's market for the things most people see. Just like baseball cards, when Topps printed too many, all the prices dropped. Yeah. Same thing.
So what's your most valuable NFT?
I have a CryptoPunk. I've got a Luka Doncic pin.
Nice.
I've got, the best way to do it, go to lazy.com/mcuban. Lazy.com/mcuban, and you see all my, not all, but most of my NFTs right there.
Cool.
So,
That's very cool.
and that's actually a business I created with one of my programmers. We took about a week, and because there was no way to show off your own NFTs, right? You had to jump through all these hoops to show it in all these different marketplaces. And so I was like, okay, let's just create one where you just start an account on lazy.com, you connect your wallet, it sees all the NFTs in there, it shows them, and if you want to sell them, you can sell them. And within 3 weeks of launching, we were up past 250,000 users. So it's been really cool. Yeah, so it's a hot area for sure.
That's cool. I have a real quick question on that. So I've been fascinated. I've been watching, Mark, your involvement in this, and I am curious. Like, when is just the decentralized world? When is that going to have its browser moment, if you will? Like, you don't need to know how the internet works to use the internet. And
Right.
obviously there's been a lot of acceleration in the last year. But when is someone like Dax going to be able to
Good example.
join this new decentralized frontier?
Well, I mean, you're seeing it some already. Like people are using Dogecoin to buy Mavs merchandise, you know,
Yeah.
and you saw it with Wall Street Bets. You're seeing it with Dogecoin and what's happening there. But I'd say when it really starts to take off is when business applications like this insurance thing I just told you about. Insurance isn't a big deal when you're just using it for temperature, right? But if it's your health insurance, and instead of having to convince your health insurance company to give you your money back, all that money you paid in premiums, so you can go get, go get your foot fixed or whatever. What you'll see happening is a distributed version of it where you'll have all these validators who anonymously decide whether or not your claim should be paid or not, as opposed to somebody sitting at a desk in a big insurance company who is just trying to fuck you because that's what the insurance company is telling them to do. And so that decentralization is going to change insurance. It's going to change banking. There's right now, like if you own some Ethereum or if you own some Bitcoin, you can use this stuff called DeFi, decentralized finance, which allows you to be a bank. You can lend money and make more than you do on your savings account. You can borrow money and do it in minutes instead of going through all the hassle of going through a bank. So all this decentralization is going to have a huge, huge impact. Just, I was around in the early days of the internet and people are like, streaming, are you fucking kidding me? I'll just turn on my TV. What the hell? Because back then, you want an analogy. When we started AudioNet, which was like the first streaming company, you had to have a PC with a 56K modem. You had to have a dial-up connection. You had to have a dial-up ISP. Then you had to download a TCP IP client. Then you had to download a media player. Then you had to go to the website and find your content and click on a batch file. Then you had to hope all that shit worked. That's just to listen to the Chicago Cubs game or whatever, right? Or a Mavs game. And it was difficult. And, then it just got easier and easier and easier, just like all this stuff will.
Yeah.
So I'm in New York right now. The other day I saw Elon Musk on the street and I interviewed him. I talked to him on the street. Chaotic. Everyone's going crazy for him.
Yep.
Elon. So then all of a sudden, as he's going into the car, someone screams at him, "Hey, Elon, tweet about Doge." Like they want him to just put something about Doge so the price goes up. What are your thoughts on this whole Elon tweeting about Dogecoin and like the value keep going up? Is it scary? Is it safe? Is it okay?
Look, I used to go on CNBC and talk about different stocks that I own, and I could watch it. I could watch the ticker, like you go in the studio or whatever, and you can watch the ticker. And as I was talking about stocks, the price would go, and then if I ripped the stock, it would go, it's no different. It's the exact same thing. And so, just the bigger the platform you have and the more target rich the audience, the more you're going to have an impact on pricing. And to this day, put aside Elon, somebody goes on CNBC to talk about a company they're investing in or whatever, it's the same thing happens. Or, but what's better is now you have people who typically aren't in the stock market buying Dogecoin, or maybe they bought GameStop, hopefully at the beginning of it, right? And then they go to Wall Street.
Is not close.
Yeah, right? To the moon, baby. And then,
right.
But they go on Wall Street Bets, and there's a lot of people talking about it. And so that there's power and knowledge in numbers like that. And it's the same with Dogecoin. Look, like when I bought it with my kid, it was under a penny, and you buy $30 worth, right? And then it was a nickel, and we sold it. But then we bought more at 7 cents and 30 cents, and so he's happy. To the moon, baby. But it just shows you, the moral of the story is supply and demand is undefeated. When you have more demand than you have supply, the price is going up. And what's interesting about Dogecoin, I call it Doja for Doja Cat, but that I didn't know when I first started talking about it. There's a finite number of new Dogecoin printed or minted each and every year. So it's 5.2 billion. That seems like a lot, particularly when, if they get up to $1 each. But as a percentage of the total circulation, that means it's a declining percentage of inflation. So when people start using this as currency, buying Mavs gear at Mavs.com, That's Mavs, MAVS.com. then it actually becomes a decent currency, and it's not nearly as volatile as some others. And so it actually can have some staying power if people use it for transactions. If they just hodl it and just hope it goes up and nobody uses it for transactions, it's just one more crypto token, and and just supply and demand will define what happens.
Yeah, so mentioning the Mavs, I mean, opening up the Mav store for Doge is awesome, and it pushes things forward. I've always been curious, right? I think of like investing in a sports team. You've got the bucket of, hey, this is just awesome and fun to do, and then you've got the bucket of, what's my rate of return? With your portfolio of companies, how does the Mavs kind of like measure up on an ROI side? I mean, it's awesome, and it's.
I didn't even care, right? That's not why I bought it.
That's what I was assuming, but
we paid $285 million, and it's been valued at like $2.5 billion. So it's done okay.
Yeah, decent ROI. That's awesome.
So cool.
Is it personal for you? Is it hard for you because you have such a good relationship with your players? When someone gets traded, is it hard for you to kind of, how do you deal with that? Because I'm not good at person in your soul. Like, how do you deal with that?
I hate it. It hurts. But I tell myself it's like they're getting transferred to another office in the same company. Oh yeah, we're trading you. I mean, we're just transferring you to Sacramento. Yeah, you're going to the Sacramento office, or you're going to the New York office, or whatever. That's what I tell myself. But yeah, it's not easy because just like if you got transferred at work, you got to uproot your family and deal with all the hassles and everything. And so, when someone leaves, or just having to tell them is not easy.
So you think Luka's going to be a lifetime Mav?
You damn well better be.
So awesome.
Is your plan to own more sports teams?
No. I looked at it a few years back, but that's when my kids were just like infants, and it seemed reasonable. But now they're 11, 14, and 17, and I'd rather spend time with them. So I don't see that happening. And plus, it's just so emotionally draining. Winning is fun, but losing is just so much more painful, and over the course of the season, it's just for me. Some people don't care. I do. It used to take me 2 days to get over a loss. Now it's just, about 8 hours, but that's 8 painful hours. And, it's brutal.
And I was gonna say, I see Mark all the time in New York. I see him a lot in New York, and I've seen him at other places. He's one of the most grounded guys. Here's a big star, worth a lot, but just a huge star. But he's always by himself. He's not a big entourage. Not even a fancy car when he drives around New York City, at least. What about you? Like, is that how you just like to be, or like just no big no big group around you?
That's the way I was when nobody knew who I was, and I was broke, and my bank account wasn't a reason to change. And, I still got my same friends from growing up in Pittsburgh, my same college buddies, my same Dallas buddies, why change? And that's not to say I didn't look at it and say, wow, and it actually comes from your friends. When you first get paid, it's like they expect you to change, and they expect you to be different. And, I dig up all the bills all the time. But it's still the same. We still tell the same stupid ass jokes. We still tell the same stupid stories, and that just keeps you grounded. And it was just more fun not to change than to try to be somebody hoity-toity and to pretend to be something I'm not.
So great.
That's Mark, awesome. You were a little bit outspoken when it comes to politics. Do you think you'll ever run for any kind of political office?
No, those days are gone. No chance. It's just so. It's just so brutal, there's just no reason to put myself out there, particularly with 3 kids. If I was single, maybe just to fuck with people, but with kids, they have
to. So great. We brought up Elon's name earlier. Have you guys met? Like, what's your thoughts on Elon?
I love Elon, man. He's a superstar. We've talked on the phone a couple of times, texted a few times, but aren't close or anything like that. But I like him. I mean, he's one of those guys. He invents shit, and you go, why didn't I think of that? Or how the fuck did he pull that off? And he gets it done. And so that's something I respect.
That's right. We're getting a TrophySmack wrapped Cybertruck when it comes out. I'm just putting it out there.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So I know we're running out of time here. So we want to get you off quickly. we do something on our podcast that's called the speed round. We just go rapid fire questions, quick. You down for that?
Fire away.
All right, Adam, you start.
All right. The most money you won in a night of gambling.
175,000, I think.
Nice. What about the most money you've lost gambling?
Probably 30 grand, because I know when, if I'm just not happening, I just get up and leave.
Nice.
Favorite trip you ever took your family on?
Cayman Islands.
Okay. Best guest shark on Shark Tank.
Bethany Frankel.
Really interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Who's the cheapest shark?
Damon. Not even close. Maybe Robert, but between Damon and Robert.
All right. When was the last time you used coupons on something?
I use honey all the time, so that counts.
Okay. All right.
Generally at dinner, you're at dinner, good service. How much do you tip? What percentage?
Anywhere from 50 to 100% or more if it's or if it's a small bill, 200. Like if I've got $20 and I've got 2 20s with me, I'll give them 40 or whatever. I'll typically, or if I have $100 bill on me, I'll leave 100. But during the pandemic, I've upped it. I try to tip a whole lot more now.
That's awesome. I love
That's
hearing
awesome.
that. Who would be your dream guest shark?
I don't know. Elon or Warren Buffett, or Ben Affleck. I think Ben Affleck would be a good guest shark.
Really?
Yeah. I
Why
like
do you
Ben.
say?
I just
That's so-
he's just smart. I like Ben. He's smarter than people give him credit for.
All right.
Okay. Something left to do on your bucket list.
Dunk again.
All right. Give me a celebrity home that who has the most unique home out there?
I don't know. I don't go to a lot of celebrity homes. The guy Dirk, where he used to live, their next door neighbor had a water park in their backyard, so that was kind of funky.
Oh, that's cool.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not a big. Hey, let's go check out this house and see how cool it is. I don't even like to check out my house.
So let me ask you, what's the coolest thing in your home? The one thing you're like, man, I had to make this. It's just something pretty cool, badass.
I got a heated toilet.
That's kind of fun. But is it weird because if you sit down, it feels like someone was just on it?
No. It's the best thing ever. I'm like, eat hotter.
That's so great.
When it's cold, there's nothing better. Are you kidding me? There's nothing better.
All right. Biggest name in your phone?
Yeah, I won't go there, but there's a lot.
I
Yeah.
can imagine.
Okay. Last person that left you starstruck.
That's a great question. I think I was a little starstruck with Jerry Seinfeld. I was on the Tonight Show with him, and Robin Williams also as well. And I think those two guys were the ones I was starstruck with, because I was trying really hard to strike up a conversation with Jerry, and he was easygoing and talking like, hey, we're best friends. And I was like, yeah. I was just like, fuck.
I saw David Letterman the other night, and my mouth dropped. I was like, this guy, you never see him around. He's reclusive. That was a pretty cool spotting the other night.
Does he still look like a Unabomber?
Oh, yeah. Still fully bearded, the whole thing. What's your favorite food?
Alyssa's cookies, that and cold pizza. I'm not a big foodie at all.
Well,
I just throw shit together.
Yeah. What's the one food that everyone loves but you can't get into?
Olives. I fucking hate olives.
You and Matt
My
on the
favorite
same
food is pizza, and the one thing I can't eat is olives. Man, it was just meant to be. I'll tell you what.
I love olives.
Hate
That's so funny.
Can't
olives.
do it. That's the only topping. Like, even if you peel them off, it still just bleeds in.
Get it.
Can't do
Get
it.
it. Yeah. I know there's that taste, and you just hit it, and you go, oh,
Can't do
damn
it.
That's
Never
so
never
funny.
olives.
pizza
Well,
ruined.
Mark, thank you. Matt, thank you
Yeah,
guys
this
for
is a lot
both
of
joining
fun.
us on the podcast today. That was a lot of fun. I loved learning just more about you today, Mark. So that was really cool. And any last words to Mark before we hop off, guys?
Trophy Smack, make a lot of money. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Stop podcasting and make me some fucking money.
Back to work. Back to work. Back to
Yeah,
work.
to the moon, Trophy Smack, to the moon.
I love it.
We're building a trophy there, baby.
There you go.
Man.
All right, guys.
All right, Mark-
appreciate it.
Yeah,
you-
thanks a lot, Mark.
So, guys, it was nice to talk to your boss, huh?
Actually, this is the boss right here.
That's the greatest boss.
I mean, how'd that feel for you guys? You know, you guys obviously are in business with Trophy Smack and Mark Cuban. Was that kind of an interesting conversation? Have you guys had those kind of open dialogue with him?
I mean, working with him and his cadence and how fast he responds in an email. I mean, we certainly get an aspect of that vibe, but hearing how laid back he is, I mean, every time he answered a question, it's like, dude, we picked the right shark. Man. This is great.
It was fun. It's like a lot of our conversations are obviously about the company and about things that we're doing. So like Matt said, it's like we haven't sat down and had a beer with him, but I feel like that was kind of the same thing. Just shit talk,
We need
have
beers
fun.
right now. That's
We
what
do need beers.
need.
We need to get
Yeah.
off this and have some beer.
Are you nervous about, like, obviously that was a long conversation. Are you nervous that you're going to piss him off? I mean, it is Mark Cuban, like, and it's like your boss. So it's like, Dax, we always want to have these fun interactions and interviews, but yet again, it's like, hey, I'm in business with this guy. Like, I want, but
Yeah, I guess I
Reading
don't
the
feel
room, he was
having a good
Oh,
time,
yeah.
so I wasn't too
It's-
concerned.
was he intimidating when you guys did Shark Tank? Because he did put you guys on the spot. Were you intimidated by
But
him?
I feel like all of them are intimidating. Like when you're standing in front of all of them and they're all staring at you, that's a fucking intimidating feeling. So I didn't feel it more from
Yeah.
him than anyone else.
Damon's stare, I think, was so
Intense.
and laser glaring that we felt that more. And then once we got into the rhythm and Mark engaged and chimed in, then it was it was fun and free flowing.
Yeah. So Matt, let me ask you this. Now that you talked to him, how involved, like, I mean, Dax, me and you have spoken, but like the thing that surprised me, Dax, when you told me that Mark is very involved. Matt, how is it working with him and his company? Like, do you see how involved he is on the Shark Tank products that he invests in?
Yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, my expectations going into this is he's got 200 portfolio companies, right? This is going to make a difference in these big moments. But I mean, we're communicating in the like we said, email response time is within minutes. He's emailing me on Saturday morning with an intro to, a CEO of a company. So, we couldn't be happier with that. And, expectations exceeded.
That's awesome. Well, listen, you guys are, that was pretty cool. That was a great interview. Very fun, very cool to talk to him. You could find more about TrophySmack at TrophySmack.com. They were on Shark Tank, Dax and Matt, and the product is awesome. You got to check out their stuff. They have the craziest trophies out there. It's pretty insane. They're the type of trophies they have.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see them all behind us. If you're listening
they
on
got
Apple
belts
or Spotify or any of that, come to YouTube and you can see all the cool stuff.
6
shit behind us.
pounds of custom forged metal championship belts represent your greatness.
Trophy. Be a loser to get a trophy. That's the cool part.
We got everything. We even have participation ribbons. So even if you're in the middle and you didn't do shit, we got that for you.
In other words, you suck at fantasy football.
Check out TrophySmack.com. You can find me at Adam Glyn. We have a video portion of this podcast on YouTube. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. You can check out Dax Holt at Dax Holt, and we'll see you guys next time.